Hey, how's it going, guys? MrBossFTW here, and in today's GTA 5 video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at one of the features that's been confirmed so far coming to the Diamond Resort, and that will be arriving in the GTA Online Casino update. In fact, it's kind of funny that this is like the one table game or gambling activity that Rockstar has confirmed so far. Now, we can sort of speculate and infer and take educated guesses that there's going to be a handful of others based off of what we've seen Rockstar do in the past. But as far as what they've said and written on the newswire, there's only been one thing so far, and that is the Lucky Wheel. So let's take a look at what Rockstar described the Lucky Wheel on the newswire. It wasn't even a full sentence, but they said you can spin the exhilaration of the Lucky Wheel for a chance at life-changing prizes. So when I first saw Rockstar mention the Lucky Wheel, I thought that this was just going to be in some way, shape, or form an extension of something they added in the Arena War update. And that is the Spectator Wheel that you can actually spin. Now, this happens when you are spectating or you've been knocked out of an Arena War game mode. You basically go up into this spectator booth, and in the very center of the booth, you've got this giant wheel. And basically what it allows you to do is you can spin and you can get prizes like money or RP, or it will actually give you power-ups that can affect the outcome of the rest of the match. So that's kind of cool. Now, I certainly expect the Lucky Wheel in the casino to be a little bit different. Number one, I think it's going to be more like a physical wheel and not like this sort of holographically generated one that you see here. And I also think the prizes are going to be much different. Like, for example, since it's not connected to the arena games, we're obviously not going to get prizes that consist of like giving us a drone that can shoot missiles at other players. That just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So that's the closest thing I think we have in game right now that resembles the Lucky Wheel. However, we can actually take a look at what I think is going to be very, very similar to this in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, in a previous video, I've covered all the other gambling game modes: blackjack, roulette, slot machines, video poker, and even some of the beta games that didn't make its way into the final version, like craps and Texas Hold'em. And we've even taken a look at a handful of others like the inside track, horse gambling, pool, and even the lottery tickets that were in GTA Chinatown Wars. But we've never talked in depth about the Lucky Wheel that is in GTA San Andreas. Now, in that game, it is called Wheel of Fortune, at least according to the GTA Wikipedia page. And I'm going to show you guys some footage of how it ultimately works here. So it's similar to roulette, where the player puts money on spots on the board. However, here you can only pick 6 spots. You have $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, and the star. Now, the payout for each space is shown by the dollar amount, with the star being $40. So, for example, if you bet $1 on the $20 spot, you will get $20 if the player wins. Now, once you're done betting, the wheel will be spun, and if the wheel lands on the space bet on, the player will win, and if not, the player loses. So overall, it's a pretty simple game. Basically, you just choose where you want your chips to go, and if you're lucky enough to have it land on the star, then you get that X amount of money multiplier. And you can see that the wheel behind that also has the same numbers, 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, and the star, with the star being the least common one, 1 being the most frequent, 2 being the second most frequent, 5, 10, 20, and so on and so on. You guys get the idea here. So that's how I think the Lucky Wheel is going to work. I think it's going to be very similar to what we saw in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, there certainly could be some changes. In fact, I expect there to be some changes, just like everything we've seen in GTA San Andreas. I mean, that game came out in like 2004, like a long, long time ago. So obviously, it's a brand new game. Technology is incredibly different. That was also in single player. And remember, this is going to take place in multiplayer, so I don't know how different that is going to be. Like, for example, getting back to the Arena War wheel that you can spin, there can be other players at the table, but you can only spin one at a time. There's no way for like multiple people to get in on the same spin. So I wonder if that will be the case with the Lucky Wheel. Will multiple people be able to put their chips on different spots? Like, for example, if you had 5 other friends, could you just put money down on each spot and one of you guys would be guaranteed to be a winner? And you could almost sort of like rotate who puts chips on what money amount. Again, that's why, because it's a multiplayer game, I think Rockstar is going to have to do some balancing here. But I think that should give you a good idea of how it's ultimately going to work. Now, let's talk about the second part that we know so far about the Lucky Wheel. And that is that it's going to have life-changing prizes. Now, that is a very bold claim by Rockstar. So they're either going to bring out the big guns here and give us some insane rewards, or this is maybe just them sort of fluffing up the features at the Diamond Casino and Resort. But regardless, life-changing prizes is pretty insane. So let's talk about what those life-changing prizes could be. The first one, pretty obviously, might be money. That's how it worked in GTA San Andreas. So, for example, if you put $10,000 down on the star, in this case, and it gets multiplied by 40, that's obviously an insane amount of money. So just with that quick example right there, you'd be walking away with $400,000. But if it didn't land on the star, you'd obviously lose $10,000 right on the spot. So there's a lot of risk reward there. But I do think big amounts of money could be on the table. Another thing that could be on the table is big amounts of RP, things that allow you to rank up. I know that as you get into the higher levels, like the 200s, 300s, 400s, even further than that, it's really hard to rank up. Now, there's not much of a purpose of ranking up much further than that, other than really bragging rights for the most part. So maybe Rockstar wouldn't do that, but it still would be nice if there was like 100,000 RP that you could get just for landing on one spot. The next thing I could very easily see is vehicles. Now, what's interesting is the next thing I could see Rockstar doing is vehicles. Now, what's interesting is how would Rockstar handle this? Would they be the same vehicles every time? Would they be different? Would Rockstar be able to update them week to week via tunables? That would be interesting. Like, imagine if you could get a free supercar or even a free vehicle from Warstock Cash and Carry. Instead of doing specific vehicles, maybe they would actually do vouchers, where one of the rewards might be a free vehicle at, the Super San Andreas Autosports website or Legendary Motorsports, or a free vehicle on Warstock Cash and Carry. That way you could choose which one you want. Now, the problem with that is some vehicles are like $100,000, some vehicles are like $6 million. So maybe Rockstar wouldn't do it like that. Maybe it would just be specific discounts on the next vehicle you buy or something like that. That's another thing that will be interesting to see how Rockstar handles it. Again, because I know that, number one, they don't want this system to be abused. But number two, I definitely know they want people to play it. And if the prizes aren't good enough, no one's going to go out of their way to go about those table games. So I could see vehicles working. I could also see Rockstar having prizes that are exclusive to the Lucky Wheel, which would encourage players even further to participate. So that could be vehicle upgrades. It could be liveries. It could be clothing items. It could be weapon skins. Now, I wouldn't imagine Rockstar would put like insane game-breaking stuff to be exclusive to the Lucky Wheel, but they've got to make the prizes good enough, like I just mentioned, for people to actually want to play here. Now, the final thing I want to talk about regarding the Lucky Wheel is there going to be some sort of cooldown? In the Arena War mode, it's like a 10-second cooldown before you can spin the wheel again. Basically, you just have to wait for one other person to go, and then you can spin it as often as you want. As long as you are in that skybox or the spectator booth, there's no limit. Like, there's no cap on how many times you can do that. But with life-changing prizes, would Rockstar want to limit the amount of times this could be spun in a certain day? So it wouldn't be shocking if there was limits put on there, because we need to go back to Red Dead Online here. In Red Dead Online, you're only allowed to play a certain amount of poker per day. before Rockstar will make it unavailable to you. So whether they're just trying to prevent people from spending all their time gambling, or they're trying to prevent people from making super easy money and abusing the system, either way, they've sort of put a fail-safe limit in place that you can, I think it's 30 minutes is like the max you can play per day or something like that. So they did put limits on poker and Red Dead Online, so it wouldn't be shocking if there is a limit on the Lucky Wheel and even some of the other table games that we see added in the casino update. Now, I don't think this will be the case because, again, it's a different game from GTA San Andreas and it's multiplayer, not single player. But in GTA San Andreas, you had to have a certain gambling skill in order to play Wheel of Fortune. It wasn't one of the games that was just available from the start. So I almost wonder if it'll work the same way in GTA Online. Will you have to play the other table games to get a certain gambling skill before you can go start spinning that lucky wheel? That'll just be something to think about right there. And as I was doing research on the Wheel of Fortune and the Lucky Wheel, I found this artwork or creation right here. This is what it might end up looking like. This is just a simple sort of video game interior design. But you can see there's like a Wheel of Fortune design right there. That could actually be pretty awesome. So as always, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know how you think the Lucky Wheel is going to work in the Diamond Casino and Resort once it's added into GTA Online. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And remember to subscribe if you guys are new and you want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA Online casino news. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work. And if you ring that bell, you'll always be notified when new information arrives. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.